I know you'll see, and the world will make for me. Welcome, everyone, to ScriptCamp Table Reads. I am your host, Ray. For all of you new members of the server, we will read scripts and then give feedback for them. If you choose to voice a character in a script or give verbal feedback for someone, then you will receive script coins, a currency here on the server you can use to buy merch. Or if you have 100 of them, your own table read reading of your full-length TV pilot or feature film. So yeah, do keep that in mind. I'm going to post the blurb for you to submit a 5-page script if you have one, because those are free. And if you have 100 script coins for your full-length script, if you would like. But yeah, can everyone see Table Read's info? This is where the Table Read info is, and it also has the PDFs we'll be reading through. You can also click on Joel's stream. The PDFs will also be shown on there. Okay. First is State of Affair from Paul. This is a horror comedy TV pilot. The logline is, when zombies ravage the state fair, a screw-up and his overbearing friend must cure the patrons and save their boss. Feedback we're looking for, did you enjoy it? Content warning for throw-up and language. Paul, anything to add before we start?
No, just have fun, I guess, with it. It's not
Ooh,
super serious.
all right. So I've tried to chop up the roles in a way that we can not have one person to a part, because there's a fair few parts on here. I'm going to give myself a chunk of them. But yeah, we'll start with the single person roles. If you would like the part, just speak up and I will cast you. First is Salvador. Anyone for Salvador?
Joel G. Salvador.
Thank you, Joe. Roman, did you say you wanted a part? Roman? Okay. Anyone for Dante?
I am interested in a role. I don't know who any of these characters are, but it doesn't matter. I guess just sign me up to any.
Okay, I'll give you Dante. Let's see.
Dante?
Dante.
Okay.
Amelia? Anyone for Amelia?
Sure.
Thank you, Dan. Karen? Anyone for Karen?
Okay.
Oh, was that Morgana?
Yes.
Very good, thank you. Camilla? Anyone for
Can I
Camilla?
be Camilla? Can I be?
Thank you, Lasagna.
No
And
problem.
And Viola. Anyone for the part of Viola?
I'll do another part if needed.
I think Amelia and Viola might interact.
I'll take how
Oh,
powerful.
I can do Viola then. They don't interact, I don't think. I have seen this before.
Alright, let's see. Yeah, I'll give Viola to Lasagna then. And then we have 3 parts that I combined all together. It would just be voice, large man, and man. Anyone for voice,
Yeah,
large
I'll
man,
take it.
and man? Thank you, Zach. And I'm going to handle everything else. One more call for someone doing Viola who doesn't already have a part.
I'll take anything left you got.
Oh, okay, thanks, Willow. I'll make you Viola. All right. There's our cast list. Yes, I have woman, girl, two, girl, man. Okay. So yeah, everybody has the PDF open for the script, state of affair, and let me check the messages to make sure nobody's lost. All right. Please God, the window. Okay. Starting direction now. Over black.
It's gonna be fine, alright? Trust me.
Salvador, I swear to God.
The place will be just how you left it. I promise. That's my fucking word, man. Come on, I promise.
Title. State of affair.
Okay, Sal.
Interior mobile home. Night. Roughly a dozen drunken 20-somethings scatter the tiny living room. Cans and bottles pepper the coffee table. Some sit, some stand, hovering like vultures over prey. Salvador, 19, a shaggy-haired anti-capitalist wearing the merch from his favorite band, talks to a girl on the couch, beer bottle in hand.
I'm telling you, she's been such a fucking buzzkill ever since. At least I'm doing what I want, right? At least I'm not some fucking mindless zombie.
Oh yeah, getting drunk, talking up girls. It's a life to be lived, that's for sure.
Look at it more as savoring my freedom while I have it, okay? Also, I'm like barely tipsy, so
Salvador burps.
excuse me.
Camilla, 27, hospital scrubs and done up hair, walks up the porch steps, opens the door.
Hey, everybody get out.
Everybody stumbles past her.
Chop chop, let's go. Hey, not you.
She grabs Salvador's arm.
I'll call you, alright?
Good luck. Camilla slams the door behind the last person.
Look, I know.
You promised me, Sal. You promised that everything would be fine.
Well, I didn't expect you back so soon. And I was gonna clean.
Salvador's cheeks expand with throw up. He chokes it down.
You fucking idiot. At least tell me you didn't buy all this shit.
Salvador floods his hands with vomit.
God damn it.
She stumbles him to the bathroom.
Hey, not the sink.
He throws up in the toilet. Bedroom. Salvador lays curled up on the bed.
What the hell is this about, Sal?
What the fuck do you mean?
This, you've been acting out ever since.
I just want to be happy, man.
You can't without making a mess and wasting all your money. You think this place is cheap?
Should be.
Yeah, well, it's not. See, this is your last chance, Sal. You don't have my rent, and we are both out. I know I'm not mom, but I'm trying to do the right thing, and it would be nice to have some help. Please try to understand. I really need you now.
She looks into his eyes. He averts his gaze. Later, Salvador sits at the edge of his bed, bouncing his leg. He holds his phone to his ear.
Hey, man, I got a favor to call in.
Dante, 20, answers on the other end.
Of course, are you in trouble or something?
We'll talk about it later. But for now, I don't know if you can put in a word for me with your boss.
Shit, see what I can do. You need anything else? Just ring me.
Exterior State Fair, day. Dante and Salvador share nachos on a bench by the Ferris wheel. Autumn leaves flutter down around them. Fairgoers walk their children like dogs in harnesses.
And she's saying now, we're gonna lose the place, man. Shit's just been crazy ever since my mom died.
Damn, I'm sorry. I mean, it's probably not what you want to hear right now, but there's always room at my place.
You're right, Dante. It's not what I want to hear right now.
Dante's smile fades.
Thank you, though.
Dante stands and stretches.
Maybe we should get back to it, huh? Grind never stops.
Sure, man.
Begin montage. Dante flicks on the lights to a long cleaning closet. Salvador pokes his head into the room. Quick cuts. Dante and Salvador use trash pickers around the fair. They carry a large stack of boxes together, trying not to topple them over. They sweep the entrance of the brooms past each other. Salvador gets a glimpse of a girl, Amelia, 19, blonde hair and white shirt with cute, tacky flower designs on it. Dante catches him staring. He sweeps a pile of dust at Salvador. Dante holds the rickety ladder while Salvador screws in a light bulb. They give each other thumbs up. End montage. Dante and Salvador walk together, laughing and sharing a small box of candy.
I saw you staring, man. Just go talk to her. Worst thing that happens, she says no.
I just don't want things to be awkward with somebody I'm forced to be around for hours at a time. You know what I mean?
Whatever. If you don't talk to her, I will.
Kieran, 49, speed walks past them. He stops, turns back.
Hey, you two. Pepe needs somebody to move some meat to the food stand over by the Twister.
Dante salutes him.
Got it, sir. Anything else you need done?
Restrooms need cleaning, as always.
We'll get it right on the Kieran.
Good man. Good man. You've got a hell of a friend there, kid.
I know how to pick 'em.
Kieran speed walks away.
Never took you for a sub, Dante.
Yeah, well, it's for that reason you have a job, so thank you, Dante. You're welcome, Salvador.
Yeah, so who's doing what?
I could hit the food stand.
Nah, I do with enough shit for my sister. You'll take her restrooms.
Suit yourself. Come find me if you need a hand.
Food stand. People scream overhead as Salvador moves boxes into the meat freezer. He grabs the last box. He strains to lift it with all his might. He pushes it. He kicks it. He grabs his foot in pain.
Fuck this. A box of bricks.
He makes one last attempt. Struggles. It budges only an inch. He gives up. Takes a rest on the box. Head in hands. Through his fingers, he sees 2 feet approach. He looks at her.
Oh, hey. You're that girl I saw earlier.
You and Dante good friends?
One could say that. I'm Salvador, but you can call me Sal.
He extends his hand. She shakes it.
Amelia, I've heard a lot about you.
Salvador gives her a confused look.
From Dante. You're
Wait.
kind of all he talks about.
Oh, were you taking over for Dan?
Yeah, Dan's gone.
Got it. Were we on Salvador gives her a confused look?
Salvador laughs nervously.
Oh, sorry. Salvador laughs nervously.
I wouldn't believe a word of it if I...
Noted. So are you on a break right now too?
He looks at the box.
Sure, what's up?
I was wondering if maybe you'd want to grab a bite or something.
Heck yeah, I'm down.
He abandons the box of meat right where it sat.
I won't be long anyhow.
He walks off with Amelia into the overcrowded fair. Later, Amelia and Salvador shoot targets with BB guns. Ding! Time's up. The man behind the counter hands Amelia a stuffed monkey.
Good shit, man. So what's next?
Amelia puts her hand to her chin, puckers her lips. She glances up at the Ferris wheel.
How about that?
Food stand. Pepe opens the box, the one Salvador left sitting. He slaps a couple of beef patties onto the grill, presses one with a spatula. Grease bubbles out from under it. A man sprinkles chips onto his burger, squeezes mustard to the patty, raises it to his big, enormous mouth. A woman chews her burger. Crumbs gather on her lips. She licks the ketchup and mayonnaise from her hand. People surround the stand, eating burgers and chips. Ferris wheel, night. Salvador and Amelia sit in their seats, halfway to the top of the brightly colored Ferris wheel.
Don't mind my asking, but what has Dante told you about?
Don't be mad at him. But he told me that your dick is 2 inches long.
Wait, are you serious?
No. Was I right though?
No, it's only 1 inch.
She smiles.
Telling you, he's a liar. But what has he said for real?
He told me that you're a very scared person.
Thank you, Dante.
Never did say what of though.
Salvador looks down at the fair below him.
What are you scared of?
Huh?
She scoots closer.
I mean, everybody's scared of something.
Yeah, I really haven't thought about it.
She rolls her eyes.
Okay, I have, but it's stupid. I'm scared I'll waste my life, end up how my mum did.
You think her life was waste?
No, there's just so many things she never got to do. I don't understand it, how she worked that way, knowing someday she was gonna die.
Amelia takes his hand.
What do you think she'd say if she were here now?
She'd probably tell me I'm all for that person.
She sets his hand on her side.
Let's say she were here. Wouldn't you love to prove her wrong?
They lean in. Salvador closes his eyes.
Wait a sec, that's really weird.
He opens his eyes. Past her puckering face, he sees a man. A woman pulls her arm away from him.
Hey, Amelia, look,
She opens her eyes. She turns around.
what the hell is that guy's problem?
Yeah. That guy's problem.
They look on as employees yank the man off the woman.
It's what's best for her. Get off me. Trying to help her. Linda.
That shit is scary as fuck.
Later, Salvador and Amelia walk together through the crowded fair.
Yeah, I mean it's...
A man grabs him by the arm. It's best.
What?
I'm helping. The man leans in, mouth agape. His eyes roll back in his head. Amelia pushes the man.
Hey, what are you doing?
A man sneaks up, grabs her arm. We're helping you. It's for the best. Sal socks the guy in the face, yanks Amelia from the woman.
Let's go.
A small crowd gathers, grabs all over them. One person takes Amelia's stuffed monkey. Salvador and Amelia push through them, kicking off the ones who won't let go. They jump into a stand for cover.
What the fuck is with them?
Whatever is happening, I know just the person to help. Follow me. Stay close.
Amelia leads Salvador through the crowded fair, hearing screams in every direction. Interior bunker continuous. We see them on a monitor with multiple angles of the fair open. A hand presses a large red button on the desk. Exterior state fair continuous. A large metal gate sprouts from the ground surrounding the state fair. Large boulder. Amelia knocks on the boulder.
Viola, I know you see us. Open up.
The boulder is raised by a hydraulic lift-up system, unveiling a hole with a ladder. Interior bunker continuous. Amelia climbs down the hole, followed by Salvador. At the bottom, a large hallway lit by fluorescent lights awaits them. Large glass doors line the walls on either side. Amelia leads him down the hallway. Each creature looks progressively more threatening than the last. Salvador is visibly shaken. They finally reach the last cell. Inside, Viola, 37, lab coat and logs, spins her chair to face them. A menacing grin sprawls her face.
Salvador, I looked all over for you, man.
Dante runs to Salvador, gives him a hug.
You done fucked up, newbie. You done fucked up.
She laughs at Salvador.
Salvador? Meet Viola.
That boy right there is the reason for all this mess.
No way. He was with me the entire time. Right, Sal?
I traced the threat back to where he was moving boxes not long before his premature break. He poisoned those people. This is his fault.
She cackles.
Dude, you said you were on a break.
Yeah, I mean, I saw
Wait, what about my dad? Viola?
I ain't seen out of his office yet.
She types on the keyboard. A weapon wall spins behind her. She retrieves 2 large pistols with ammo belts.
Dante, other one. Be darlings and fetch her father from the office.
You want them to shoot him?
Relax, girl. It's just to knock out the poison people. It's just to knock out the poison people on the way.
That's all well and good, but we never agreed to go back out there. Come on, Sal. Escape pods, this way.
Suit yourselves. All we need is the burger from his office, and this can be all over.
She slides the weapons and belts to them through a slot in the wall. Determined, Dante climbs into a pod.
Amelia, come with us.
I can't just leave my dad. You guys really won't help me? You don't want to help those people?
He opens his mouth. Hesitation. Silence.
No?
We aren't trying to become mindless zombies, Amelia.
Does he speak for you?
He's right. It's too dangerous. I'm really sorry for all this.
He steps into the pod. She grabs his arm.
What if it was somebody you cared for, huh? Wouldn't you want to save them?
He tries to pull away.
What the hell are you scared of? Wasting your life, right? Well, this seems like an awful waste to me.
Dante scoffs, shakes his head. Salvador returns to her, pulls his sleeve away.
Come on, man. Let's just go.
He stares him in the eyes. He averts his gaze.
Fine. Let's fucking get this guy.
Salvador picks up a weapon and belt.
Dude, what?
Come in, V.
Amelia smirks at Dante.
Got your back, bud. Whatever you need.
We're fit campaigning, you and me. Two swashbuckling badasses on a path to liberation. Now, what's this about a burger?
Exterior State Fair, moments later. Salvador and Dante hide in the shadows as they maneuver the games and food stands.
The burger in his office was made using the mystery meat. All I need is a sample of what's causing this, and things will will be normal again in no time. Or as normal as it was before your mess up.
A girl takes a coffee cup from the coffee stand worker. Thank you. She looks at the cup. Disgusting. She removes her hand from the slime-covered thing. Hey, what the hell is this? The drooling worker roars in her face, slams the window to the stand. Can I at least get some napkins? The angered worker opens the window. Whip. A dart quickly punctures his neck. He collapses, face planting against the window frame, out cold.
Damn, you sure he was one of them?
I don't really know. Better safe than sorry, though.
Dante and Salvador run off. Begin montage. The high striker dings. Shoot down the crowd from a small roller coaster. A woman aims a BB gun at the man running the stand. He lunges at her. A dart hits him in the neck. The woman runs away hollering for security. They pull a drive-by on a group of clowns. The clowns tumble over each other. They frolic in slow motion, holding hands and shooting darts into the oncoming aggressors. Dumbfounded, Amelia watches them on cameras. End montage. Circus tent. A large man grabs a woman's arm. She struggles to loosen his grip.
Yeah, so check this out.
He has the man's attention. Salvador unloads on the guy. He lets go of the woman and starts walking towards Salvador. Salvador shoots him again. And again. The guy's not slowing.
Dante, where are you?
Salvador turns away for only a moment.
Oh, look out!
He turns to the man. Right behind him. Whack. Salvador is sent flying from the hit. His gun slides away.
I got her. I'm trying to resist.
Dante fires into the man 3 times. The man marches towards Salvador. Dante grabs a foldable chair and slams him over the head. Finally, he collapses. Dante helps Salvador get up.
Then come with me.
Ferris wheel, later. They climb a ladder to a platform near the middle of the Ferris wheel. From there, they overlook the fair.
Really messed up, Sal.
Ugh, we're gonna fix it, aren't we? I could have talked to Amelia if that's what I wanted to hear.
Not my job to tell you what I want you to hear. It's not my job to tell you what you want to hear. And that's not all I have to say either.
Salvador looks confused.
Salvador, you don't know if we're gonna fix this. That last one almost took you out.
Dude, I'm still here.
Not listening. I want to get the hell out of here. I've always had your back, so I'm asking you to have mine now. I want you to come with me.
You know I have to help.
Kieran may not even be Kieran anymore, and you're talking about fixing things. Half these people aren't sane, mindless zombies, and you're choosing them over me.
It isn't like that. Look, I haven't always been the greatest guy, but I can finally make up for something I've done. I can save the fair, save my job, my sister, and me from being put out of the street. Come on, man.
Fine. Promise me, Sal.
No.
Promise me that if we can't bring him back to the lab, that you'll make the right decision. That we'll get out okay. You and me through thick and thin. Just do that for me.
Dante holds up his pinky.
I promise. That's my fucking word.
Salvador wraps his pinky around Dante's. Interior office building, later. Salvador and Dante quietly approach the door. A sign above the door reads Boss Man.
You ready?
Let's get this over with. Remember, all we need is the burger.
They inch the door open. Office. Portraits of Kieran and Amelia line the walls. 2 chairs sit in front of Kieran's large metal desk. Kieran lies like a corpse in the ground by a bottle of beer. He is across the room from them.
Is he dead?
They tiptoe toward him.
I don't think so. He's been doing this shit to himself ever since his wife, well, okay.
Salvador steps onto a loose floorboard. Creak.
Huh?
Kieran stumbles to his feet.
I'm so tired.
Kieran, Viola sent us. We're gonna get you out of here. We need you to know that we need to know where the burger is that you got from Pepe's food stand.
Kieran walks to his desk, rustles around inside it. He pulls a bottle and glasses from the drawer, slams the drawer closed.
Here it is. Drink up, boys. I know I could use it. What's this about a burger?
He pours wine into 3 shot glasses.
We don't really have time to explain everything.
Wait. I'm getting something. Yes. Okay.
Salvador and Dante shoot him a sideways look. Kieran walks to the window, pulls the blinds. A flood of infected patrons stumble over each other toward the office building. Many lose control of their limbs, resort to crawling, rolling.
Wow. That's what they were telling me about.
They who?
The voice. Been in my head since I'll save that part. Point is, they tell me poetic, soothing visions of the future with them. A bit idealized, but something worth believing in. Moving forward, it's all I've wanted since my wife died. To be happy again.
He stares at the horde.
If this is what it takes, I could certainly imagine worse.
It talks to you?
As since the first bite.
Dante takes a step back, puts his hand on Salvador's shoulder.
We gotta be getting going now.
No, Kieran. You're coming with us one way or another.
Dante draws his weapon, points at Kieran.
So, you aren't gonna carry his ass back.
May I at least put the bottle away first?
Kieran grabs the bottle, puts it away. He closes the desk, grabs the bottom of it, and he flips it. Salvador tackles Dante to the ground to avoid it. Dante points his gun at Kieran. Click. Nothing. Salvador shoots. Nothing. Kieran laughs. He walks toward them, his legs queasy. He stumbles over.
What's happening to me?
Same thing happening to the other.
Insert. The patrons get closer to the office building. They groan, drag themselves across the concrete.
The more control they let them have, the weaker they became, drained of their humanity.
Office. Kieran struggles, crawls toward them.
Please help me.
Salvador looks at Dante.
No, he's already screwed.
You gotta do something.
No, Salvador, we don't. What we gotta do is leave. You made a goddamn promise that we'd get out together.
Dante pushes the desk out of the doorway.
Unless you want to end up just like him.
Just like him.
What?
All we needed was a sample of a fucking infection.
No, Sal.
Trust me.
I don't want to lose you. Seems like you're trying to ruin your life every turn. Wasting it, man. You're wasting it.
Salvador tosses his weapon aside.
For once, you know I'm not.
Salvador marches to Karen, sticks his hand in Karen's mouth.
Fucking black, Karen.
Fuck you, Sal.
Dante runs out of the room. Karen bites down, floods his mouth with blood. Salvador yells in pain. He pulls his hand from Karen.
You're gonna be okay, boss. You'll see Amelia soon.
Exterior State Fair, moments later. Dante gets tackled by one of the infected.
Get off me!
Salvador speeds past him.
I'll save us, man.
The swarm of zombies rolls after Salvador like waves. Dante fights his attacker.
Come on. Huh? That's not mine. Oh, yeah. Come on, Sal, don't pop this up.
Hundreds of voices talk over one another. Salvador wrenches in pain, holds his ears. Salvador is surrounded by a large mass of darkness. His eyes grow cloudy.
Join us, join us, join us.
Salvador walks with his hands outstretched in front of him. A hand reaches from the darkness to him.
Join us.
The surrounding veil of darkness fades away, revealing the large mass of human bodies, all extending their hands in different directions. Salvador slaps the hand away. He takes a few steps back. All the bodies pile up atop each other in a makeshift kaiju monster, built like a damn Power Rangers villain, a mech of human flesh. The mass war cries. It speeds towards Salvador. Salvador dodges in the nick of time.
Shit. This must be the poison.
The mass gains on him. Salvador eyes the Ferris wheel. He jumps, flies through the Ferris wheel. The mass detaches the Ferris wheel from its base, launches the wheel at him. The wheel crashes through stands, quickly catching up. Salvador tackles the boulder to no avail.
Ouch. I can open the door.
The horde rushes toward him. The door opens up. Salvador hops in. Interior bunker, continuous. Salvador stumbles through the corridor to the lab. He strains to breathe. Amelia rushes toward him.
Get the fuck away.
He flinches. He begins to walk toward her. His arms stretch in her direction, mouth agape. Believe that's Willow. Are you there, Willow? Come on, kid. She pushes him into a chair. Clamps shut around his wrists and ankles, locking him to the chair. He roars at her.
Yeah, talk your shit.
And she picks up a large needle from the table, struts toward him, sneering grin on her face. She jabs his arm. He struggles, strength wanes, his eyes close. Fade to black. Later. Amelia, Dante, Viola, and Kieran stand around waiting for Salvador to wake up. His eyes flutter open.
Wrist clamps.
Dante runs to hug Salvador.
You did it, man. You fucking did it.
At least take me to dinner first, man. Shit.
Dante steps away.
Hilarious.
Salvador.
Salvador peeks around Dante.
I know, I'm fired. But could you at least hold off till I get another job? My sister really needs.
Whoa. I'm not firing you.
You're not?
You see the creatures lining the corridor? You think this is the first time something like that has happened? Relax. You stepped up when you made a mistake and you fixed it.
Karen walks towards the exit.
You're gonna fit in here just fine.
Salvador stares on.
So, you guys gonna release me or what?
Interior mobile home, later. Salvador stands in the messy living room, holds a trash bag.
You really did it this time, Sal.
He plucks cans and bottles from the coffee table. Bedroom, 2 weeks later. Salvador sits in his bed, writing on a notepad.
Dear Camilla, I'm really sorry for the stress. I'm a lingering alcohol smell in the living room. I'll buy some air freshener soon.
He sticks the note in an envelope, along with a large stack of cash.
Also, here's the rent I know I haven't been the best brother in the world, but I'm gonna try to be better. I'm not gonna promise anything this time either.
He stands at a painted bedroom door. A sign hangs in the middle of it. It reads, "Do not enter, Salvador." He knocks on the door.
Miller?
Silence. He begins to slip the envelope under the door. He retracts, pulls the note out, and leaves the money under the door. He tosses the letter in the trash.
I'm sorry again. I know you're not Mum, but I appreciate you trying to do right by me. I love you.
The end. Okay, excellent job reading, everyone. Sorry that I apparently can't read today. Also, did anyone hear dog noises or printer noises?
No.
Okay, great.
Me either.
I heard nothing.
Let's see. I can start out just giving my initial thoughts this time, just to give you guys a little bit time to get yours gathered. I really like this. I like the concept. I like the execution. I love the main character. I like the sense of humor in this. The jokes are good. I really like Dante and Salvador's friendship. Hang on, there was something specific. Damn it. Yeah, I might need to give some of my additional thoughts later as well. But I thought the pacing was good. I like the idea of the massive human meat kaiju. That was pretty incredible. I like the risk Salvador takes at the end. Oh, wait. Yes, I was going to mention the sort of metaphor you had going on with, I hope I interpreted this right, but Salvador talking about his mom sort of working her entire life, possibly working herself to death, and like the zombie parallel, like a zombie desk job or what have you, or like, what's the term I'm looking for? Having to be a zombie to fit into the system, like going to work each and every day and giving it your all or something. I'll think of a more eloquent way to phrase that later. But yeah, I'll think of some more comments as we go down the list, but I really liked it. Let's see.
I can give feedback if you want. I can't hear Grave for some reason. Yeah, so I'll give my thoughts. I think that it's not structured as a pilot. Am I right in thinking that's what this is? So I'm just quickly
It is a
double
pilot,
checking.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 30-minute pilot, isn't it? And it feels what I've been told is you should sort of have the the old life, which is what you have with Salvador working in this park or whatever, and he's getting on with his work. He's trying to get a date. He's got to pay his rent. All of that, which is good. You've then got what seems to be the end of the old life, and this kind of weird zombie thing caused by some kind of food poisoning, it seems. But then you don't have a third element, which is sort of what happens next. Why should we carry on watching the rest of the series? What are the stakes? What what are we wanting to see? What's going to happen next? What are our characters going to have to go through? All of that, I think, is that's missing, and that's a really, really important part of of a pilot. It's trying to essentially sell the rest of a series. So I think that's your biggest priority, really. I did like how each character sounded quite different. You did very well in making them have different kind of dialogue, and they don't all sound like the same person, which is really great. Yeah, thanks for bringing it.
Thanks, Joe. I'm sorry I misheard you there. Or misheard you in the beginning. Dan, you can go now. If you do.
Well, I did miss out on a part of it, so I might be missing a little bit of a piece of the puzzle. It really doesn't, it feels kind of like it's a complete story, like everyone else said. It didn't really end in a way that said, what's going to happen in episode 2? It kind of felt like, okay, this was a short little one, and this was like a short movie almost.
Can I say stuff? I guess when I first read it, because I've read it like a bunch now, when I first read it, I just thought, okay, so there's going to be some other random happening next episode, because they said that there a lot of weird things happen in this amusement park. Do you see the creatures over there and all that stuff? So I just sort of assumed that things like this are going to keep happening every episode or something, just random things that go on in this amusement park. That's what it felt like. So I'm not really seeing the problem with I don't know what's going to happen in the next episode, because I know it's going to be like they wouldn't have pointed it out if that wasn't going to be the case to me. Uh, that is all.
Okay, so the episodes are supposed to be self-contained. But go on, Dan.
What it be like self-contained with the same characters? There still needs to feel like there's some sort of byline that says, yeah, there's more shenanigans, because it almost seems like, oh, we were introduced to all these characters, and then halfway through, certain characters just disappear. They have nothing else to say, and it made me think, okay, this is like a short thing. How do you follow up from this, though?
All right, was there anything else? All right, well, thank you, Dan. Aliska, did you have any feedback for the script? You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Jason, did you have any feedback? All right, Lasagna, did you have?
Oh, I'm sorry. I came in late, so I'm not going to comment.
Okay, got it. Yeah, Lasagna, did you have more feedback?
I've sort of already given feedback to him before, so I guess I don't really have anything to say anymore. I did really like it though, and I kind of know where it's going, so if people do need to elaborate and Paul won't answer, I will answer. I don't know.
Right. Let's see. Marcus, did you have any feedback?
I think I'm gonna have to read it again on my spare time, because there was a lot to it that I'm still trying to formulate my own words currently. But yeah, just give me a little bit of time. I still need to figure out and process it fully.
Okay.
Sorry, apologies.
That's all right. See, Morgana, what about you?
Um, I like the setting of an amusement park. It reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Adventureland, which is kind of obscure, but not too obscure. With Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart, however you say it. With just like young people working a dead end job at an amusement park. I kind of like that idea. And my favorite part of this script was, even though you didn't really get much of it, was the Salvador and Amelia scene leading up to the zombie attack. I thought there's like decent kind of romance writing, which I enjoy. So that was good. I did think that it was kind of shit just like hit the fan pretty fast. I was kind of like, maybe I just misread it. Like, why were they going after a hamburger? I was kind of unsure of that. So yeah, I like a lot of it. I guess maybe just clean it up a little, like as we all have to do after our first drafts. But I think this is a pretty good template. But like Dan, I guess like to reiterate what Dan says, it'll be interesting to see like how this, like how you keep this momentum, because he did like if this is like each episode is its own crazy story. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So yeah.
Thanks, Morgana. Nacho, did you have any feedback?
Yeah. So first, I just want to say, like, it's been awesome to be able to read your scripts over, the past year or so. Like, and congrats on, finishing this one. Like, I'm really excited. I'm proud of you for like, like knocking this out. Now you have your, I guess a 30-minute pilot that you can kind of like start refining now that you have the words on the page. I think the concept is wonderful. Like, this is two sort of slackers working at a carnival in the middle of like a zombie invasion or something is a fantastic premise, fantastic setting, like so many great things about this. I felt like to me this felt like a feature that was sort of shoehorned into a half-hour format. Like, it almost felt like we kind of missed the second act and just like went right into the the opening, and then we went like right to the third act, right? Like, I think my biggest note is just like really consider whether you might want to do this as a feature or as a pilot, right? And if it's a feature, like, it just felt like it we're missing all the steps where there's something, okay, like we're opening with these guys working in this carnival, and it's crappy job, but they have fun or whatever. And then I like it, he just he's just like, are you on break? Oh yeah, I'm on break, and just goes off with this girl, and that's the cause of the thing. I mean, it's a little bit weird, like, how come that particular meat causes this or whatever, but like it felt like once the kind of outbreak started happening, like we missed all of these steps of like little one dude's like twitching over here and something else is it just felt like we need a lot more time. Like, this really felt like a feature story where we might see more things happening, and then okay, now holy shit, these people are going crazy, we gotta like get out of the carnival, or like what's the next step, let's get to some safe place. And it's just like right in that moment where we would start to see kind of like a zombie outbreak story kind of unfold, we just went right into the secret bunker where there's a scientist who tells them the answer to everything, and you just need to get the serum and we can cure it or whatever. And it just felt like we missed the whole middle of the movie where, they're dealing with these zombies on the carnival rides and all this stuff, and just little moment to moment kind of like, goals, leading to, I don't know, something big at, where they find out, oh, okay, if we do this, we can stop it or something, right? And so I guess, yeah, just those kind of, just it seemed to fit more with the feature, to be honest, like just the concept and what we're doing. I think it could be potentially a great 30-minute pilot. I mean, I think that, it's sort of selling these characters short to set this up as an anthology instead of like, this could really be a interesting, fun, recurring 30-minute show. These characters like dealing, carnival workers in an apocalypse, or I don't know, whatever the concept is. It just needs to kind of figure out a little bit more what would the series be about, and then sort of show that in the like give at least a hint of like what a normal episode will feel like. So that's kind of my bigger notes, just like deciding what you want to, like what you want to, where you want to take the concept. I think, some of the dialogue, it's a bit kind of like just lacking subtext a bit. But I wouldn't really worry about it too much. Like, I think, like, first of all, I mean, a horror comedy is not easy. Like, I just wrote 2 of them, and it's really hard to get the tone right. Like, okay, is the scene supposed to be scary? Is this like funny? And it took like, 4 drafts to really start where this tone started to feel consistent in all the scenes. Like, it's challenging. And I think like I wouldn't worry about the tone too much. I wouldn't worry about the dialogue. I would just, until you kind of really have decided, like, because you might decide to totally change some scene or cut some scene or whatever, add something new. So I wouldn't fiddle around too much with it until you have like the whole thing kind of decided. And then, yeah, I think just a couple things, like, I think it would help once you're in the polishing stage to try to find like the characters' individual voices, like, how does Camila sort of talk versus, Salvador and Dante and Amelia, just kind of really identifying like interesting, unique voices for them. And I guess like the bigger thing that for me, just like, why is there, Viola seemed to be like a scientist or something, or epidemiologist. I'm just like, what is like, this doesn't necessarily, if this is a 30-minute pilot, it could be sort of a mysterious thing, but it's just like, why is there scientists at the state fair, and are they doing experiments on the people at the fair? And, and like, I think you could really just knock it out of the park with this concept, but I think like, right now it's neither pilot nor a feature. It's sort of like missing a big chunk of like the story in terms of like the progression from the opening until like the 3rd act, right? But I think it could be adapted either way. I would just like make a strong choice and like sort of lean into it. And yeah, I guess those were my notes. I had some smaller notes. Just I'll send them to you afterwards. But like the opening where you over black, it might help a little bit just to describe the voices that we're hearing. Just to give us a sense of like what we're. But I really enjoying this, and it's great to see your writing come along. And so, great job. I'll look forward to reading more.
Thanks, Nacho. Pollock, do you have any feedback? If you guys don't like using your microphones, you can always type it and I can read it out loud later. Roman Elliott, what about you?
Yeah, I had a lot of same notes that Nacho sort of was talking about like a lot of missing steps. Because to me, it's like with zombies, you want to see like the progression of like one zombie, then like the biting, and then the spreading. And it felt like we just jumped a little fast into it, which for a pilot, I guess that makes sense. But it did maybe feel a bit quick, and also the science sort of came out of nowhere. Like, oh, we got this cure. It's like where, how. It's like to me, it's like a few too many questions. And again, I don't need all the questions answered because like I don't necessarily need to know why the meat caused it. Although that would be something I'd be curious about. But like, if I like a little bit too many unanswered things, and if you answered like one or two of them more, then it would be a little bit more satisfying. But I also think like, yeah, this does feel like it could be a standalone film. But it also could be a show, but I would want to know, like, okay, is the setup that there's going to be a monster every week? Then I'd want to hint more at that, and that it's not just because I feel like in this one it's very clearly just zombie, and I would want like even like tease of something more. And I know that there might be a little in there, but like I would want a little more because to me I would maybe expect, okay, there's going to be zombies again, and if so, then like what? And also like, what's the motivation to stay working at a place where there's like zombies? The characters a lot, and I like how they were depicted and written. I think that they are very clear in their characters, and they're very distinct, and I thought that was good. I think it would be fun to watch these characters. So
Thanks, Roman. Let's see, Taste of Sorrow. Did you have any feedback? Hello, Sorrow. Let's see. Oh,
Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. It wasn't working yesterday, so I was like, try to even answer. But I think my main thing that kind of tripped me up a little bit when I was reading this was the prose. Although I think that a lot of pieces of it are well written and snappy, I think in certain sections it can become incredibly wordy, and that bogs down the pacing and then makes it also harder to understand exactly what's happening. I'm trying to pull up an example if you can give me a second. I think a good example of that is roughly a dozen 20 somethings. I think that it might sound innocuous, but things of that nature kind of make it a little difficult to understand because I can't immediately visualize what roughly a dozen 20 somethings look like. I can't immediately visualize that and what that would entail. Like if you got more details about where they're at, what kind of group is this? Is it college students? Are they dropouts? If it was a bit more clear, then I could understand what that means. But as it is, it's a little vague and wordy. So that's my main thing. But I think overall it's written well.
Thank you, Taste of Sorrow. Willow, did you have any feedback? If you can't use your mic right now, I can just read out your feedback later. Zach, do you have any feedback?
Yeah, just me. I thought the characters were really good, really identifiable. More of a rhetorical question. Going off what Taste of Sorrow said was the characters. For me, because I watch a lot of cartoon shows, they do actually it comes across as a bit of an animation. And the feel of it feels like an animated episode. So it just all kind of works in this very strange way, but it all fits together just into something that works nicely in that 30-minute pilot. Yeah, there's a few things that sort of left unresolved, unfinished, but because it's like an animation, you can kind of get away with that in my eyes. I really liked it. I thought it was good, but it just depends on whether the characters are real human beings or, as I said, like Scooby-Doo, where things move at a much quicker pace than they do in normal life. But that's all I've got, really.
Thank you, Zach. Elijah/Elliot, did you have any feedback? Let's see. Yeah, good points you all brought up. I was saying I do see what Nacho means about like the idea of it being sort of a feature crammed into a much shorter space than maybe it should be in. It doesn't bother me terribly, but I do see how some of the aspects might be too shallow. I realized I wasn't that sold on Amelia's presence in the script. I feel as though we were supposed to, like, I don't know, feel some deep connection and understand why Salvador was so drawn to her. They had that moment in the Ferris wheel. They were like talking about his dead mom and be like, ah, you know, we're connecting over it. She would, if she were here, what would she say, and all this stuff. And like, it was a nice moment, but there just wasn't enough time for us to really build that up or make me really care when in the end he like, or she like tried to run up to him and he said, get out of the way and all that. So, but positive feedback from earlier still stands. I really do like it. And I hope if you have any other versions that you bring it back for us to read again because I loved it. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Paul. Hope some of the feedback helps. But yeah, let's see. On to our next script. Okay, yeah.
I just finished the script. If you had time to chat, otherwise I can talk to Paul afterwards.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Oh God.
What? Was someone a fucking zombie for a second?
Go ahead, Joe Tool.
You sure? Yeah, I can wait. I can do it afterwards if you want. I'm a little late, sorry.
Trouble just there, but I would love to hear what you have to say.
Okay. I wrote a few things down, so I might just. I don't know who's doing that.
All right, shouldn't be a problem now. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Let me see. So yeah, just a bunch of random dot points I've just wrote down. More just questions to think about than anything specific. Let's just see. I'll start with the start. So first of all, I think one of the things I heard towards the end there was like the relationship with the sister wasn't really, I don't know, it wasn't necessarily amped up all that much for me to care all that much by the end. I think if you just found, I mean, it was sweet. Like I liked the conversation that they had, but I think don't think the stakes were high enough for me to understand why he needed the job all that badly. I think there are some things that you could have done to just make it a bit more clear how much she's struggling and that make that choice seem more impactful. I think when it came time to then getting to the fair, it was a little bit rushed in my opinion. There wasn't much setup. I felt like I didn't really get to know any of the characters in the actual fair to really care about them either by the time the incident of them turning into zombies happened. So it didn't feel like there was much of a loss there. And then, so maybe there could be a tonal thing you could do as well to sort of amp up the suspense towards this thing happening to a degree. Or it could just be a complete juxtaposition that you want to highlight. But yeah, I just felt like maybe setting up some of the characters in those earlier scenes might have helped a bit more for me to be on board. There was a couple spelling mistakes. I don't remember what page it was on. I think you said like his instead of her at some point. But by the time it got to I believe she's a scientist, right? It's Viola. Is that who you decided to make the scientist, Paul? I believe so. Anyway, I think there wasn't much of an intro to her character descriptively. It kind of just jumped to her being Viola, and it's kind of just Viola. So I think maybe an interesting thing might be to introduce how she kind of looks. The fact that she is a scientist is kind of an important detail. I think another thing as well, there wasn't really any character actions, like actual actions that suggested that Sal was a scared person before Amelia says it. So it was a little bit jarring to me that suddenly he was coming across even to Dante as a scared person, because it wasn't all that clear to me that that was the case through his actions. So might want to find a way of putting that in, maybe with some choices. I was thinking as well, by the time they're on their journey to sort of go after the dad, I don't really have anything emotional to sort of care about, because I don't know the character, and I don't necessarily know enough about what she means or what he means to the girl at that point either. So again, the stakes don't really feel all that high to go after him. So maybe there's a way you could introduce him, even ordering the burger perhaps earlier. Or maybe not, but just, I feel like maybe amping up his importance, and even his role in maybe getting his job could help as well, because it didn't really feel like there was a moment later in the script where Sal sort of tells Dante that one of the reasons he's doing all of this is to sort of make sure that he has this job, but it didn't really make all that much sense that that was sort of the only reason why he was doing it, because again, it wasn't super obvious that the dad had anything to do with that, or what the job is really allowing him to do, because we hadn't really done much setup in that regard. So maybe just introducing the dad and other characters before things go wrong can make me care about them a little bit more when it does go wrong. I'll try to rush through this. Sorry. I was thinking maybe you could make it a bit more visually clear that later in some of the scenes that the people were actually zombies before, the kids are just running around with what I assume are guns, right? Kind of in broad daylight, just shooting people. I guess it's kind of like, is this a secret in this town to these people? Are they trying to keep that a secret to the people that are in the festival or in the fair? Is this something that they have to sneak through? Like, it wasn't all that clear to me. It just sort of was like they were just gun-ho running through. I thought that was something worth considering as well. Maybe making it a bit more clear whether or not they're hiding or if they're straight in front of it. I think an establishing shot could help as well after they exit the boulder or whatever the bunker is, just to sort of tell me what I'm seeing in terms of the townspeople a bit more. I think the big thing I remember talking to you about as well, and I think this would help with navigating what I'm watching a bit more as well, is establishing what the actual plan is outside of just getting the burger. Like an example might be like in the Mission Impossibles, or like a spy flick or a heist film. You're not sort of just saying we got to get the money, right? You're saying the specific steps to get to that. And I think if you establish that as well, it might then actually make it more clear what we're watching them do and the necessary steps that they have to tick off in order to get there. So the actual the locations make a little bit more sense in my head, and I can kind of understand and visualize where we're going. But I think also you can use that to subvert the audience's expectation at that point by making things go wrong. So I guess it just like there's a little bit more suspense and anticipation that way. The other thing as well, I was initially expecting Amelia to sort of go on the search for her dad with them. You don't have to make that the case if it's just about Dante and Sal, but I think they felt like they were kind of in the story and a major part of the story to suddenly just not be a part of it. And so I would want a little bit more believability to like either her not deciding to go on the journey, especially if she's trying to force Sal to sort of do it for her, right? Make it believable that she would actually, for some reason, need to stay behind, or she really needs this thing to happen. And so I think either make it that she goes on the journey and there's a three-way kind of triangle with who wants to stay, who wants to go. Sal's kind of that middleman, or just make it they're a little bit more involved with the actual plot at this point. I think a really easy solution to this, I think you should consider doing this anyway, even if it's not Amelia that's there, but you do it with Viola. Just give the kids, if they can do any technology, right, because she's a scientist, just give them an earpiece, give them an earpiece, have them talking to them, right? They have to do stuff over the science while, like, from the actual bunker, and they're doing blah, 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 and they have to do this, and I just feel like a little bit more involvement with, like, the science aspect of it could be really cool. Like, you have all of this technology, but we're only really seeing them use dart guns. So maybe there's ways that you could, like, here, take this with you. Like, this is going to be useful to get you through this place. And, like, take this because this will do this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, just feel like you've got a really cool opportunity to play around with that stuff. And I think you should utilize it a bit more. And I think, as I said, it'll get the... And it will also then make a bit more sense why they kind of know where he is, how to respond to him when he's like a zombie already at that point, but also kind of amping up the stakes a bit more because we're watching how Amelia or Viola is responding to this simultaneous to these choices getting made. With choices in mind as well, I don't think it was really, like I said, I don't think it was all that evident that Sal really needed the job just because the setup wasn't there. I do think that the stakes could be a little bit higher in that regard, especially when, trying to find the father. I think there's also that thing where he says that he needs to sort of, he essentially needs to prove himself. It was almost like he did something. I've forgotten exactly how he worded it, but maybe clarifying what it was he did outside of just the initial fuck up of leaving the meat out. It seems like a pretty trivial thing, except for the fact that it just so happened to turn into this big thing. But I think the ultimate choice that I'm sort of getting at is that Sal ends up making the choice to become a zombie. And it didn't really feel like that needed to happen at that point because I wasn't really clear on where the zombies were, how much of the stakes were rising, what I was looking at and what the threat was at that point. It kind of just happened. I was a bit like, oh, wow, okay, I guess he's just letting himself get bitten at that point. It wasn't like, wasn't all that clear that the dad was about to completely turn into a zombie. It wasn't also all that clear to me why he couldn't have just still found a way to bring the dad with them. So maybe making it a bit more clear, like once this guy turns into a zombie, it's like, we can't do this, like, because he's just going to go out of control. So yeah, and making the choice, making it a bit more apparent. It's like, okay, you have to do this now or else something, right? Like maybe they're getting swarmed by zombies at this point, and he has to make the decision. Like, there's only one way of getting through. I also think, the thing about Dante was kind of a bit confusing to me because it didn't make all that much sense to me that the choice he made, because Sal almost came across as a dick to me in that moment because he kind of sacrifices Dante against his will. He's like, come with me. He's like, no, man. I'm just going to get bitten by a zombie and you can figure it out for yourself, right? You just got to trust me. I was kind of like, this is meant to be a hero moment, right? You got to this is the moment where you got to try to get, you're showing Dante in some sense that you can be trusted. And I think that's a big part of your arc that you could highlight as well, is the fact that nobody can trust Sal to a certain degree, right? He keeps fucking up. I feel like that might be something worth playing with. Maybe the fact that Dante isn't just on board with everything he has to say, but there's a little bit of skepticism that he's going to do the right thing. And so with that, you could make it that Sal he makes the decision and Dante kind of has to agree with him for once. It's almost like he's letting him go. He's like, okay, I trust you almost. And it makes it feel a little bit more heroic in that sense, right? Even Dante making the sacrifice at that point instead of running away might be a good arc as well, because he wants to leave. I don't know. It just seems like you can make these characters do the necessary choices in that moment to make that feel like it's actually there's stakes there, and it feels like there's a weight to the choice. And so, yeah, I think that's most of it. I think, what was it? Make Dante not. Yeah, I think, if Dante doesn't trust Sal, I think, making it that he has to then learn to trust him to take the infection and make the right choice. is an interesting thing to play with. But anyway, I know that was a lot to just shove all at once. I didn't want to take up too much time. Yeah, man, I think other than that, you've got I love kind of the direction that you went with it. I think a lot of the fun is coming through. I do just think, yeah, they're finding a bit more specificity of what I'm seeing the characters do, and being able to visualize it, I think will make everything come across a bit more. Because at the moment, it's kind of just like, it's very jarring, the things that are sort of happening. There isn't really, it's like suddenly this guy's he's doing partying, to suddenly we're at a fair, to suddenly there's a he's having to carry these meats, and suddenly a zombie thing happens. I'm not sure if they're zombies yet. Now that he has to find a burger, he has to find a dad who we have no relationship to at that point, to suddenly he just randomly sacrifices himself. It didn't really feel like there was much of a cause and effect to these things. I can understand, but it was just sort of like a thin line to me. And I think it would be really just small changes that could make that amplified. But like I said, I really like the angle that you've gone. It's visual, and it's pretty much like what we talked about. So I think it's coming across, man. And some of your writing and some of the word choice is really cool as well. So yeah, man, I think just keep going with it. Like I said, if this is a first draft, it's coming along, man. But yeah, good luck with it, man. I'm excited to see what happens.
Thanks, Joe Tool. And looks like Carlos C still has a little bit of time to show up, so hopefully they'll appear. But our next script, thank you, Paul, for sharing, by the way. Our next script is Who Blinks First from Zach. This is a thriller drama TV pilot. The logline is, the city of Manchester transforms into a battleground as domineering matriarchs and ambitious gang members risk everything against brutal crime bosses and corrupt police officers as they fight for power and influence. Feedback we're looking for. Is there enough tension? Does it feel like a pivotal part of the story? Have all three speakers shown you where they stand? No content warning. Anything to add before we start, Zach?
Yeah, so this is effectively it's just a dinner scene, really. They're all having cheesecake, but it's kind of the part of the story where it's their relationship is now gonna break after this. This is it. This is kind of like the beginning of the end, but none of them really know it or want to say it. They're all hiding secrets from each other, and this is the last time they'll ever speak to each other properly. So there also has to be some tension there, but I don't know whether I've got that across in the 5 pages I've submitted.
All right, thanks, Zach. And from what we read of this script a couple weeks ago, I'm very excited to see the developments. I'm not sure if I don't think this is chronologically the next thing that happens after that bit we read. But
Oh no, this is a good 35 pages after.
I see. Well, I'm excited. Let's see. I will handle direction. We have 3 characters for this script: Ella, Manning, and Jackson. If you would like this part, just speak up, and I will cast you first as Ella. Anyone for Ella?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Morgana. Next is Manning. There's over 10 people. Someone's got to take that bullet / script coin. There's incentive.
Who's doing what?
Oh, what was that, Paul?
I could play something.
Okay, yes. Could you please be Manning?
Yeah, sure.
I'll
Thanks,
take
Paul.
Jackson.
Thank you, Joe. Woo. Here's our cast list. Does everyone have the PDF open? Who Blinks First? If you downloaded the PDF at the start of the session, like before we started, I think this is actually an updated version. So if you think you might have a different version, just open this latest one I posted. The other one has been deleted.
Alternatively, you can watch the stream.
Yes,
if
also you
that's
can watch.
easiest.
Yeah. Joe's got your back. And let's see. Okay. I will start with direction. Interior Jackson house, dining room, night. Ella Jackson. Hang on, do I have the right? Sorry. I want to make sure one more time. I'm just going to join the stream like we just said was the most efficient thing to do, but I forgot immediately.
The stream's the wrong one.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Okay. Well, at least I know.
Let's just.
And it is the latest version. Let me try again.
Yeah, I deleted the other upload, the latest one in the chat. In fact,
Let me put. I'll put one into this group because even the one.
that would help. I'm pretty. Yeah, I thought that I downloaded from the DM and then put that in the chat, but.
There we go. I've just put it into this group.
Thanks so much, Zach.
Alright, I will get that one then. Oh, there we go.
Good. Yeah, I think this is a different one from the one in the DM. Or at least it has a different name. I think. But
Sorry,
yeah.
my bad.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. My bad
So,
too.
yeah, this is the right version, yes. Is that?
Yep, that's the right one.
Okay, good. Yes. Now, interior Jackson house, dining room, night. Ella, Jackson, and Manning silently tuck in a cheesecake at the dining table. Palpable tension in the air. Ella gestures wildly, like she's having an argument in BSL, whilst the others try to ignore her. After what feels like minutes.
The boy couldn't join us?
He's got the night shift this week.
Manning lets out a half-hearted chuckle.
The dreaded night shift. Remember when you used to do that?
Jackson nods, reminiscing. Ella's still gesturing. At what? We don't know, but it's ferocious. She's probably tipsy.
Much simpler times.
About 25 years ago now, when we started all this.
This all started way before then. Me and Arnold here.
Manning puts his arm over Jackson's shoulder. Jackson shivers, doesn't like being touched unless it's a hand job.
We're bound for life by an unbreakable bond. I was even in the hospital when he was born.
Ella stops flipping her hands and stares at Manning, burning a hole in his head with her eyes. Decides to feign interest.
Really?
His mother was in the delivery room with my mum.
Arnold and I were destined to be partners, way before we were born. We came into this world together, and we'll leave together. It's destiny.
Ella scoffs loudly.
You don't seriously believe that, do you?
Jackson gives her a dirty look. Ella takes offense.
What? You weren't born together? Blake's older than you. You might have been in the hospital when you were born, but I can guarantee there was probably also 100, maybe even 200 other people. Hell, you'll have a stronger bond in the stars with someone born a few minutes before or after you than your mom's friends, son.
Manning's taken aback. He didn't expect a mini rant. Neither did Jackson. What the fuck did they expect?
You're making a scene now, relax.
She's even more pissed off. Never tell a woman to relax.
I'm making a scene. I'm making a scene. I cooked you ungrateful bastards a 3-course meal.
Manning rolls his eyes.
And you could barely mutter a thank you, let alone involve me in the conversation.
Well, I'm sorry for excluding you, sweetheart. What would you like to talk about?
You really want to know?
Jackson puts his head in his hands.
Not this again.
Yes, this again. He needs to answer.
Answer for what?
Why'd you kill that copper? What was such a big secret that you couldn't tell Arnold? You couldn't tell me? You're spouting off about this unbreakable bond. But when it comes to the real shit, you don't speak up. Speak up, Blake. Speak up. Speak the fuck up.
Manning fiddles with his cups, unsure whether to spill. The Jacksons stare intensely, waiting. An age of silence passes.
Can't you tell? Can't break a promise.
Bullshit.
You understand completely.
No, we don't. He needs to tell us. What if it's us next?
Blake's not going to kill us. Are you, mate?
Not going to kill you, Arnold. Your side, you're safe when I'm around.
See?
Ella rubs her forehead. Can't get through to her husband.
Fuck this. Both of you finish your desserts and get gone.
She gets up, threatens Manning with her dessert spoon.
I will get a fucking answer.
Does the same to Jackson.
And you fucking slimy weasel. Wish I never married your stupid ass.
Heads towards the door and slams it on her way out. Manning and Jackson eat in silence. Can't comprehend what they saw.
I gotta see Lucy tonight.
Problems?
Look her. Jammer she put in isn't working. Shows I'm here when I'm on the road. Sorry about Ella. You don't need to tell me why we took out the cop.
It's all good, man. She's still got that hot-headed streak from her youth.
What's your plans for tonight?
Golf, getting back into it.
They give each other a kind, awkward smile. The kind you give to a stranger when your eyes meet on a bus. All right. Excellent job reading, everyone. And thank you for sharing, Zach. Remember, feedback we're looking for is... I can scroll. Is there enough tension? Does it feel like a pivotal part in the story? Have all three speakers shown you where they stand? All right. So let's see. I think we can start from the bottom this time. Let's see. Let's see, Willow, I assume you're still having technical difficulties. All right, got it. Let's see. Taste of Sorrow, do you still have a video playing?
As of now, no.
Okay, so I guess it shouldn't be a problem. Do you have any feedback?
I've got to say, this blew me away. At first it was because of the British slang. I was very, very confused when I first saw Tusk Into, and I had to do a little Google search for that and BSL, but then I got the picture. I think this is probably like one of the most realistic portrayals of like an unhealthy family dynamic I've seen it in the screenplay. I think it's lovely. The prose is tight. It feels great. You know, there may be an occasional line that I might go, huh, at, but like it reads incredibly well. You know, the tension is definitely felt. You know, I definitely can understand where everybody stands. It's very clear. It's on the nose without being opaque. Like it manages to be in a way where they're saying what they mean, but in such a genuine and honest way that it feels realistic. I've had people that I've known say things similar to this and say it in this manner, and it feels incredibly realistic. It was a little hard to like listen to at some points, and that is the sign of just truly impeccable writing. You've done an amazing job, guy.
Thanks, Taste of Sorrow. Let's see, I think Sapphire's been deafened this whole time. Roman Elliott.
I thoroughly enjoy it. I like the dialogue. It's all really natural feeling, and everyone feels like a real character, and It feels like, and definitely there's tension. I definitely feel that. And I like the personal sort of touch you add to the writing. It kind of like I feel your voice through it. And I thought it was very well done.
Thanks, Roman. Pollock, any feedback? Paul, any feedback?
You said me?
Yep. I like your laid back approach.
Oh yeah, I dig the character. From this 5-page section that I wrote or that I read. Yeah, a lot of drama here, man. I like it. I like the differing I guess like approaches to this conversation that everyone's taking. So good job on that. The dialogue was not boring. I'll say that.
All right, thanks, Paul. Nacho, you have any feedback?
Yeah, this is really fun, and it's again like it's great to be able to see your writing in a couple different projects. I really like the scene. I think it opens really strong, and to be honest, I feel like right around page 3, where Ella kind of blows up, I felt like that's where the scene should end. Like you need to like if you could just come up with a really cool sort of reply to Ella's, speak fuck up. That just I'm not sure, something we're not expecting, like some kind of, and just right there, get out of the scene. It would be like so strong. It was a really strong scene. I felt like we kind of lost a little bit the intensity on page 4. Just some of the dialogue, like, sorry about Ella, you don't need to tell me why we took out the cop. That feels like that's not, it doesn't seem like something I would say to a partner in crime, right? Like just, it's a little bit, it just feels a little like just losing the rawness of the first, few pages, right? So yeah, I would just, I honestly, I like, that would be such a powerful ending for that scene. The rest of that scene, it's kind of like, we're kind of, there's nowhere to go from there, right? Like it's just kind of like a little bit backpedaling in terms of the intensity. And Ella's saying, fuck this, both of you finish your desserts and get gone. I mean, it just felt like, this was already the subtext of what she was saying before, right? But I don't know. Anyways, I mean, it's hard to say because I don't read the entire script, but yeah, really love the first, like 3 pages. I think the opening, I really like the opening. I mean, I wasn't aware tuck into is a British thing. I think I've heard that a lot in American, just usage as well. But I like this a lot. I think this is a really great opening line. Ella Jackson Manning silently tuck into cheesecake at the dining table. That kind of sets everything up, and palpable tension in the air. The part about Ella gesturing wildly, and that just sort of like, to me, it sort of was a little bit like maybe confusing, or it just felt like it was not necessary. Like it just, something else that made me kind of keep rereading and looking at, oh, what is she gesturing about? Is this sign language? And it wasn't really, I think it was meant to just show that she's kind of like really angry or furious about something, but it was a bit distracting from the main plot of the scene. I would probably cut most of the other description about her doing sign language or something and just get right into this. This is a great conversation. Fantastic. This could be like a killer scene. So just a little bit long. Thanks for sharing this one. Look forward to reading more.
Thanks, Nacho. Morgana, loved your portrayal. Sounds supremely pissed about potential murder.
Well, I'm just taking from personal experience, so I'm used to this, sort of situation. I've never read any of this, so I have no idea where this is coming from. I'd agree with Nacho a lot of what he said. I think this is pretty good, just jumping into it, and the tension, I guess it's, page 40 something, so that's kind of a pretty good area to start this up. It does, I don't really actually, it depends on the context, of how, the two guys are, at the end, are, kind of, are they brushing it under the rug, realizing oh, shit's about to get real? Because if that's what this what we're going at, then I think I don't really have a problem personally the scene ending that way and kind of leading up to something. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll have to hear more from you at the end. But overall, pretty good.
Thanks, Morgana. Lasagna, any thoughts?
I wasn't here for all of it, but I did really like what I heard. I thought there were funny parts like the unbreakable bond, like Paul said, and Ella's entire rant was really intense, and I did find it really realistic. So while, as Sorrowful said, it might have been, it could be read as on the nose, but it was on the nose in the best way possible, and the way where it's that's real anger right there. But there was one problem I did have, which was mostly in the action lines. I just thought maybe there was a little too much voice for lines like never tell a woman to relax, and that interrupted the flow for me just a little bit, but it's not something you need to change. This is just something on my part. I don't know if I don't know if it really means much. Anyway, that's the only thing I had to say. I really liked what I heard, and thank you for sharing. It was very good. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Lasagna. Kevin G182, were you here for the reading? This last script?
Sorry, I just rolled in kind of late.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. Jason, did you have any thoughts? Jason. Let's see. Alyssa. Any feedback on the script, Alyssa? Let's see. Dan, did you have any feedback?
Yes, I mostly have a lot of the issues came down to the voice, being too much, over telling us things we already know. He was taken aback. He wasn't expecting that. Isn't that what being taken aback already means? It's saying the same thing twice in a row. It kind of feels like it's not trusting us to understand what's going on, you know?
Was there anything else?
Well, was there? I think there was one other line. There was, I think, something. Also, sometimes I think a lot of the time, a couple of times, there's that one line where she's like, "Why'd you kill the cop?" Okay, if something about that line feels a little long, maybe that should have been broken up with some sort of action beat to make it seem like something else is happening in between. I mean, okay, it is a big monologue moment, but it's still more than 8 pages. It's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna go with 8 lines long of one person's dialogue, and that's usually that's frowned upon. I could be wrong about that, and maybe there is all these rules you're allowed to break, but the way I've always learned it is break it up a little, break it up with just something, like have maybe a slamming fist on the table. That's just my thoughts. I could be wrong.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. And Joel, did you have any thoughts? Also, sorry for doing that thing for the trillionth time in a row.
It's fine. I didn't notice it. Yeah, I enjoyed the script. I thought it was really good. I'm not sure how much I can add on to what people have been saying. Other than I kind of want to know why Ellen was, because I understand like she's she's upset that a cop's being killed, which I think is understandable. But it feels like there's something else that maybe I'm missing in the 35 pages that I haven't read. But yeah, I enjoyed it so much. Everything that I read was brilliant. So thanks for bringing it to table reads.
Thanks, Joe. Let's see. I and a bunch of other people seem to agree with Nacho's suggestion to end the scene a touch earlier to really maintain the impact of Ella's outburst and then really condense that last bit because they are acting so casual with each other. And there's nothing more casual than like making that very brief remark about golf and then just going to something else. So, and what Lasagna was saying about maybe the action line sort of getting in the way sometimes. Yeah, I was gonna say, depending on how seriously you want us to take Ella in this moment, like you could approach her like actions and stuff like with less humor and like just make the sentences in the action lines like very short and have a lot of gravity. But yeah, I'm not all the way sure of tone, but I have a very bad ear for tone when it comes to snippets of scripts in a vacuum. But the emotional tension came across great, as everyone else has been saying. Really love your dialogue. But yeah, and thank you everyone for your input with this script. You all did a great job. And thank you so much, Jack, for sharing your script. I hope some of the feedback helps. But yeah.
Yeah, feedback's helped loads. With this, obviously, you guys read the first 5 pages, and I made a little bit of a change, and I'll make some more changes on this one. So thank you.
Yep, would love to see that. I always love to see like the different drafts and versions of prior scripts on table reads. As always, man, Carlos C is not here. I did send a DM, but
we have to read the room because it's.
Oh no!
Hi, doggy.
The room. Yeah. We still do technically have a bit of time if we want to go on another frolic. Oh yeah, for all of you who were here when we read Paul's script Wax the other week. I think that's a reference, yeah, to my tone deafness when it comes to scripts. But I did like that script. It was cool, even though I didn't know how to react. But, what are you guys feeling? Blacklist script? Perhaps a short?
I'm inclined to recommend a script that makes me mad and comfortable, but I shouldn't.
Oh no,
Is it
don't.
a horror script?
No, it's something called A Guy Goes to Therapy, and the amount of dick jokes and dick references is egregious.
It is probably like, and this is like putting it lightly, one of the worst scripts I've read.
Oh
In
yeah,
general,
probably not
not
that
just on
one, but
the
it would have been
blacklist.
really funny. It would have been really, really funny,
It
but
really
no,
hurts that
not
a lot
that
of
one.
new writers who don't know what they're doing at all.
Yes.
I'd say I don't want to read on something on here just to bash it. So even though
Yeah,
it is,
true. I
yeah,
just thought it'd be really funny, and I wanted to mention it.
yeah.
But here's a
I
well, I
always
guess I have a good one, but it's also kind of inappropriate, so
yeah.
no.
Whenever
Probably not an inappropriate one.
What
I
was
don't know
that?
I don't like interrupt your button, but I have like this really good script that I've been reading, and like I genuinely think it's one of the best scripts I've read in a while, and this is something that really understands its craft. It's the script for Source Code by Ben Ripley, and it might not be on the blacklist, but it's like it is a masterpiece in terms of pacing, and I think that's a really good one for analysis.
I typed in the word. Oh look, the script savant, indubitably a great source for real scripts online. Oh look, I was. It was true. It did what it advertised. Is there any reason like not to link the? Maybe I can download this. It's like Script Slug. I've used Script Slug in the past to link Pixar film scripts. So you all have firewalls. But yeah, I'm gonna link it. It doesn't seem like a sketchy site. I'm mostly joking. Why did I link it in the wrong chat? There.
Yes, I see
And
that.
then Cable reads info. Yeah, we can read a couple pages of this. I don't want to have to go through and like write down all the parts. But can anyone else affirm it doesn't look sketchy?
It's actually the one I'm using to read it. So if it's sketchy, I don't think I'm kind of scared if it's sketchy.
Oh great, we're all in it
Or
together.
if no one wants to download it, I have opened it already on my computer, and
Well, Nacho says it's in the blacklist.
what's that?
Nacho says it's in the blacklist.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I've
Ooh.
got it on stream if people want to use that.
Thank you, Nacho. So yeah, that is the definitely safe version. The link Nacho just posted in the table reads voice chat. Oh, Connor says, I quite liked this movie when I saw it in the theater. Haven't revisited since yet. I'm going to reply noise. Okay. Yeah, let's give it a whirl. First couple, maybe 15 pages here or so. The dog. They're so sad. So neglected.
Aw.
I just
Let
don't
them in, let them read script.
Yeah, they want to walk all over my computer and put their wet little faces on me. Haven't
They're clean.
showered.
They're the cleanest animals in the world.
They smell like fish. I don't know why they smell like fish. They don't eat fish, but they just smell so strongly of it.
That's weird. They should smell like chicken by now.
Yeah, they should. I would probably prefer chicken, possibly, to fish. I don't know. Anyway, Christina Poulter. I should probably just open this in another window so I can flip back. That's not what While you guys are waiting, in your opinion, is a laptop from 2013 old?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very old.
Think about it. So in 2013, 10 years prior was 2003. Would you consider something from 2003 old in 2013, technology wise?
Yeah.
Not as old as 2013 is relative to 2023. So that proves your point even more. because like
If it still works and you can do everything you want to do on it and it's not slow or whatever, but yeah, it is technically older.
yeah, because like
Yeah,
the
I wouldn't
technological
really
revolution is supposed to like work exponentially or something, you know. It's not arithmetical. It's not a linear curve. I guess a curve can't be linear. I just wanted you guys affirmation that I should invest in a new laptop.
I mean, are you doing any like video editing or something that needs, powerful processor?
Not particularly. I do like composing music on here, and I told you guys I installed a Windows desktop on here using Boot Camp, but obviously that doesn't quite work all the way. And even then, when I get to my Steam account on the Windows desktop, I clearly can't play every game. So it would be nice to have something with a better processor. But I'm definitely not dying for one. It's just something that sort of hangs out in the back of your mind, you know? Do they give you like a work laptop for your job, Nacho? Or do they make you use your own? The dogs. I'm up to page.
That's a great response.
Yeah, I'm up to page 12 in the script.
Wait, is that where we're starting, or what? Sorry.
Oh, I'm going down the list and looking at all the parts. I assume the program you have wouldn't work on this just because like it's a picture.
I know, it should do. Just give me a parts list and I will do it as soon as I can.
Hi, sorry, this is my first table read. But do you guys usually read a full screenplay script at these?
Not
No.
usually. People on the server will sometimes submit full-length scripts if they have enough script coins to do so. But when it comes to reading blacklist scripts, we usually like at the table read. We had some scripts earlier, so okay. So yeah, it looks like the parts up to page 15 are Christina, Coulter, conductor, Derek, announcer, and Goodwin. So yeah. Let's see.
Oh, I see what you meant by it's the picture. Oh yeah, my software won't work on that. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I think I remember you at some point saying that you had something that could go through the script and find the different parts.
Yeah, it's not gonna work on this PDF, unfortunately.
Parts in the first 15 pages. Let's see. Oh, Paul left. Goodbye, Paul.
If it's okay with you, could I like narrate it?
Yes, you may read direction.
All right.
I usually try to do it myself if we're short on time, but we're not short on time. And it's always nice to hand out more parts. Always love to hear you guys' performances and direction reading, so. Christina Coulter. Why didn't I just copy and paste? Thank you all for your patience, by the way. Do try to. Why did I spell Derek as Dirk? There we go. Okay. I'll read out the parts. If you would like the part, go ahead and speak up and I will cast you. Anyone for Coulter? The most ubiquitous name? Coulter? Coulter. Are you
All
guys?
right.
Oh, thank you, Morgana. About to say, please God, don't make me be the protagonist. Okay, Christina. Anyone for Christina?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Joe. Conductor. Anyone for conductor?
I could be conductor.
Thank you, Kevin. Derek.
What page are we on? Sorry.
We're just starting from the first page and going to 15.
Okay.
Anyone for Derek? Derek? I can be Derek. Everyone's got a Derek deep inside. Let's see, announcer? Anyone for announcer? Does Derek talk to announcer? Mm-hmm. I don't think he does. Okay, I can be announcer. And Goodwin?
I can be announcer if you want.
Oh yeah, okay, thanks, Joe. Make you announcer. And then Goodwin? Final character, Goodwin? Goodwin.
I could play two characters if you need people.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't mind.
All right, there's the cast list. Taste of Sorrow, Fire One, ready?
All right. So how do I start? Do I start with the title that's on the top, or just darkness?
You can start with the title if you want.
All right. Source code. Darkness. A sound slowly builds, the rhythmic rocking of a train's wheels over railroad tracks. Interior, high-speed train, morning. Coulter jolts awake. Sunlight hits his face. He blinks, a stunned beat. He's disoriented. Slowly, he turns his head to one side. Passengers, filling most of the seats. Office workers on their morning commute into a city. Turning the other way, he's confronted with a window. Trees flash by, splitting the rising sunlight into a hypnotic strobe pattern. Coulter looks to be 30 years old, a military buzz cut. A disciplined physique, lean and spare, almost gaunt. Skin burnished by years of desert storms and equatorial sun. His expression, prematurely aged by combat, is perpetually wary, sometimes predatory, and accustomed to trouble. Despite his military bearing, Coulter wears a button-down shirt and navy sports coat. On his wrist is a digital watch. It reads 7:40 a.m. He swallows, a strange, creeping panic. He has no idea where he is. Exterior, New Jersey countryside, morning. The train hurls straight at us. New angle, skimming alongside as the train twists and turns, sucking up track. Feet, yards, miles of it. Beneath it, the curving rails, which the rustling train rarely seems to touch. They vibrate on an eerie, dulcimer hum. Interior, train, morning. Coulter hasn't moved. By his side, he sees a canvas messenger bag. Is that his? Tensively, he lifts the edge of the bag to look inside. A red apple rolls against the two library books. The bag's leather tag name reads, Sean Frentress. It's not coming back to him. This whole experience is starting to freak him out. He catches the scent of something. A passenger walks by with a steaming cup of coffee. To conk. 2 rows back, an overweight man opens a can of soda. Sitting opposite Coulter, facing him, is a woman in her late 20s, Christina. In contrast to the corporate suits around her, her appearance is thrift store funky. Black nail polish, dark lipstick, black hair with blue streaks, a buttoned-up blouse edged in black funeral lace with silver skull and bones cufflinks. She's busy writing in a journal.
Ma'am?
Nothing.
Excuse me. Ma'am?
She looks up, blank stare.
What is this?
What's what?
Where am I?
Almost at New York.
Goes back to her journal.
What's Newark? City?
It's more of a hellhole.
But Coulter still doesn't understand. He gets up. Nausea slams into him. He hangs on to his seat.
Whoa. I think I'm gonna puke.
Okay, bathroom's that way.
Coulter looks down the aisle, hesitating.
Go, seriously.
Coulter eases himself into the aisle, totters down the length of the car until he finds the restroom. The door is locked. The latch reads, occupied. Bracing himself, he lurches forward into interior, train. Next second car, morning. He freezes. It's a mirror image of the first car. But no, the passengers are different. Beside him, there's a small door. Thinking he's a bathroom, he instead opens it to find a conductor's compartment, a cramped office with chairs and surveillance monitors. A heavy-set conductor stands in the aisle, a jangling of keys. Coulter just stares at him, dazed.
May I see your ticket?
The last thing on his mind, bewildered, he searches pockets.
I don't think I...
Yeah, have to write you up then.
He pulls out a citation pad.
Is this...
From inside his sports coat, he pulls out a train ticket. The conductor snips his ticket and pushes past.
Wait a sec. I'm a little out of it here. Where's this train headed?
New York, Penn Station.
New York.
Why would it be going to New York? How can this be happening? Fear starts to grip him as the hallucination simply continues.
Do you know where I got on?
The conductor examines his ticket again.
Princeton Junction.
Where's that?
About 10 minutes back.
But I've never been to Princeton Junction. See, I don't remember waking up or buying a ticket or getting on the train or anything else. It's just a blank.
Lucky you.
The jaded conductor moves on. Coulter is alone with his confusion. Takes a deep breath. The nausea has eased slightly.
Okay, you're gonna figure this out.
Interior train, first car, morning. Entering the first car again. The same row of passengers. Must be at least 40 people. As he walks back up the aisle, he looks face to face. A computer engineer reviews some documents. A 40-something secretary does a crossword puzzle. Derek, a stockbroker type, talks on his cell phone.
Trust me, by 1 o'clock, the bridge is going to be jammed.
A college student, something against a window, eyes shut, listens to MP3 player. An old man with a faded wool suit cuts the cane. A backpacker, female, European, 20s, hiking boot, examines a guidebook. A dowdy officer manager type sorts supermarket coupons into a tabbed file box. An African American executive reads a newspaper. None of them pays any attention to Coulter. A whoosh of air. He turns to an air conditioning vent. The hiss of air sounds sinister, like the exaltation of a teacher.
We're getting background noise from... There you go. Thanks.
I'll continue. A scrape. He looks to see a woman filing her nails. Coulter cringes. Every detail, every sensory impression seems heightened, near the point of overload. He reaches Christina again, eases back in the seat across from her. She writes in her journal, ignoring him. There's something else in his sport coat. A wallet. He turns it over a few times, inspecting it. Pulls out a driver's license. Another man's face is in the photo. The name on the license reads Sean Frentress, the same name as on the messenger bag. The street address on the license reads 58 Alexander Road, Princeton Junction, New York City.
John Fentress. How's that?
And why does he have this guy's jacket? Wallet. He leans forward to speak with Christina again.
Ma'am?
She lowers her journal, annoyed. We see she hasn't been writing, but drawing. A well-executed sketch of a face.
Why do you keep calling me Matt? How old do you think I am? And
I'm having a little problem here. Try not to freak out, but I think something's happened to me.
like what?
Like total memory loss. Complete. I don't know how I got here.
So you drank too much last night. So did I. Unfortunately, I remember the whole thing.
That's not it. See, I'm a pilot. I fly helicopters in Iraq. I'm in the army.
He waits for more, as if he's telling a joke.
I was on a mission. Right before I woke up here, I was in the middle of a mission.
Wavering, unsure of himself, of his memories.
Boy, you really did drink a lot last night.
I'm telling you the truth.
Now approaching Newark Station. Newark Station, next stop.
The train begins to slow down. A few people begin to get up. The platform of Newark Station slides into view.
These aren't my clothes. This wallet here.
He holds up the driver's license. One final attempt to convince her.
You see this? This isn't me.
Of course it is.
What?
Take a look in the mirror, good sir.
The mirror? She goes back to her sketchbook, determined not to be interrupted again. Anxiety ripples through Coulter.
This can't be happening.
The train lurches to a stop.
Newark Station.
Coulter gets up. Through the windows, a few passengers disembark onto the platform. Derek, the old man, the college kid, and Guzman, an Middle Eastern man, who hurries past all of them towards the station building. Coulter only half notices this. He's intent on reaching the train's bathroom, the door of which is now open.
All aboard. Doors are closing.
Christina watches Coulter go, curious.
This is a New York bound train. Next stop, New York Penn Station.
The train begins moving. Coulter reaches the bathroom. Interior, train bathroom. Morning. A fluorescent light filters on as Coulter shuts the door. He's in a tiny place with prefab restroom fixtures in stainless steel. He shouts in surprise. Back is Sean French's face, not his own. He's frozen there, heart pounding, seized by cosmic panic. He slaps himself in the face, hard.
Wake up!
The restroom rattles and tilts to the motion of the train, obliging him to hang on. This isn't a dream, at least not one he can wake up from. The other guy's face stares back at him, blinks when he blinks. Interior, train, morning. Warehouses go by in a blur. The train is entering New Jersey's industrial zones on the outskirts of New York City. From her seat, Christina stares at the messenger bag, which Coulter left behind, then up the closed restroom door. Cut to bathroom door. Her hand knocks.
Hey, you okay in there?
Interior train bathroom continuous. Coulter sits in the closed toilet seat, head buried in hands, scared, desperate for it all to end. Interior train continuous. Christina is holding Coulter's messenger bag. She talks to the closed door.
You left your bag on the seat, which is a flagrant violation of rail security. Even a suspicious package behind it all that. Probably saved you a big fine.
No answer.
I'll just leave it right out here for you.
She places the bag beside the door. She hesitates at the door. The oddness of the situation. Interior, train bathroom, continuous. Coulter stares into the mirror of the stranger's face, practically catatonic at this point. And then her voice.
If it will help you remember, you've been riding this train every morning for 3 months.
Her words rouse him.
3 months.
Interior, train, continuous. Katrina's walking back down the aisle. The car rocks to one side as an express train flashes by on the opposite tracks, going the other way. A blur and a whoosh, and then it's gone. Interior, train bathroom. Morning. On the verge of opening the door, Coulter hears a metallic rattling. 2 screws are rattling around in the sink. Coulter picks up a screw, turns it over and over in his hands. What are they doing in the sink? He looks up. An overhead ventilation panel has been pried open. Above it is the darkness of a crawl space. Something is sitting up there. From outside comes a train horn. Interior train, morning. Through the windows, a freight train is passing the other way. A moving wall of metal box cars and liquid tankers. Interior, train bathroom, morning. Coulter looks up from the crawl space. Can't quite see the object up there. Moving carefully into the tiny space, he stands up on the toilet. Grabbing onto the ventilation panel, he wrenches it all the way open, then pulls himself uncomfortably upward. On tiptoes, he looks into the crawl space and discovers a massive bomb. It's an enormous device. Several large canisters tied together full of swishing liquid. Barely discernible behind wires and gaffing tape is cell phone, the bomb's detonator.
Jesus.
Running footsteps from outside, commotion, an alarm sounds. The bomb's cell phone rings. The device circuits close. The bomb explodes in Coulter's face with a huge and deafening force, instantly killing him. Interior train, continuous. The fireball rips through the car, killing the stranger and all the others. Exterior train tracks, morning. Fuel lines explode in the other cars in a horrendous chain reaction. The fire is spectacularly bright, lighting up the windows of the Rouse apartments facing the tracks. Nearby trees incinerate, mere matchsticks amid sheets of flames. On the row houses, an aluminum door moldings begin to melt in the intense heat. One of the freight cars, loaded down with coal, shuddering from the blast, wobbles a few yards, then pitches over, roaring off the rails, tipping right off the elevated tracks. It falls through the air and smashes into the middle of a traffic intersection below with a shattering force. The cascade of explosions continues. Large portions of both trains are annihilated, while the heat reduces the heavy gauge steel rails back to elemental molten ore. And then, an odd sound, like a balloon losing air or machinery running down as we dissolve to brilliance white. All sounds cease. For exactly 1/3 of a second, a mysterious pattern of lines appear, like metal rods maybe, radiating outwards. It makes no sense, an abstract pattern. Then it's gone. Many will not even see it. Now there is only darkness, nothingness. Seconds pass. The click of an intercom switching on.
This is the Belageared office, castle. Belageared castle.
Interior isolation unit. We're very close on Coulter's upside down face. His eyes flutter open. He's surprised to find himself alive. Consternation flashes through him as he discovers he's slightly trapped in. He now wears a military flight suit.
Captain Coulter Stevens, this is the Belageared castle. Acknowledge transmission.
The measured calm of a mission controller's voice comes over Coulter's headset.
Captain Stevens, do you copy?
Where am I?
You're with Belagard Castle.
Pull back fractionally to reveal Coulter in a tight and confined castle. Messed up. Wait. Pull back fractionally to reveal Coulter in a tight and confined capsule. It bristles with sophisticated electronics and ghostly glowing diodes. He's like an astronaut in an orbiter craft.
Are you functional?
He tries to clear his head. He's still upside down.
I'm dizzy.
Adjusting your rotation?
Very slowly, almost imperceptibly, Coulter's upside down face begins to turn and right itself.
Can you report at this time?
What is this? Who am I talking to?
There's more confusion. No idea how to react. Just like on the train.
Report what you saw.
When?
Just now.
I was on a train.
And
there was a bomb. What the hell is going on?
relax, Captain.
Dissolve to interior isolation unit. Later, we're still inside the tiny chamber. It's stabilized, as has Coulter, but in the manner of a dangerous wild animal given a sedative. Embedded into the controls is the 2-inch square video monitor. It shows the face of Godwin. He's a middle-aged communications officer. Although we know him as Godwin, his military name and badge insignia have been covered up. He wears a headset and sits surrounded by banks of electrical equipment and keyboards. He peers in on Coulter's, exuding the blankness of a military flight controller.
Stand by for thread 1 of alpha memory pattern.
Who are you?
You already have that information, Captain. Now think. Call my name.
A long moment. A name floats into his head.
Goodwin?
Correct.
How do I know that? I have no idea how I know your name's Goodwin.
Commencing memory pattern.
Listen to me. Something's wrong. I was flying a mission. I was in a chopper, then I woke up on a train, now I'm here. Can you explain that? What unit is this?
You're with Belagard Castle.
Who?
You're with friends. The exercise will assist you. Sorry, I can't read. Are you ready?
Just like with the train, he seems to have no choice but to go along with it.
Memory thread 1. Listen to the following passage. When Lily spoke, when Lily woke, she had the bed to herself. She sat up, bewildered by the strangeness of her surroundings. Then memory returned, and she looked about her with a shiver. In the cold slant of light reflected from the back wall of a neighboring building, she saw her evening dress and opera cloak lying on a tawdry on a chair. End of thread 1.
Silence. Is this Coulter's turn to speak?
I don't get it. Is this a red flag exercise?
Thread 2. Listen, I am holding the following hand of cards. Queen of spades, 4 of clubs, 9 of clubs, 3 of hearts, 9 of hearts. I repeat, Queen of spades, 4 of clubs, 9 of clubs, 3 of hearts, 9 of hearts, end of thread 2.
Beads of sweat on Coulter's forehead. What the hell?
Thread 3. The following is a recording of a western screech owl.
A rather spooky bird call plays, a short whistle followed by a long trill. The call was repeated twice more.
End of thread 3. End of pattern. Acknowledge.
Unexpectedly, in the back of his mind, a reply is there.
Acknowledge. End of pattern.
How did he know to say that? A conditioned response?
Stand by to initiate pattern recall.
Go for a pattern recall.
The response comes to him more quickly, like lines from an own script, even if it still baffles him.
The 5 playing cards, arrange them in order of descending values, irrespective of.
Wait, did you finish? I actually couldn't hear the last part you cut off.
Oh, yeah, I finished. Irrespective of.
Yeah, go for it.
Queen,
Okay.
2 9s, 4
That
and
is
3.
correct. The passage I read contained mention of a woman's name. What was that name?
Laurie. No, Lily. Her name was Lily.
At each answer, Godwin makes notations and adjusts his gauges.
That is correct. End of pattern.
Godwin leans forward to flip a switch, and then everything goes dark. Interior.
Right.
Ice.
Cut it off there. That's a good stopping point. Good job reading Taste of Sorrow, and good job with the characters, everyone. Yeah, this is cool so far, huh? I'm not exactly sure where it's going. I'm interested to see how the title ties in. I feel as though it's like an allusion to to the memories that are buried in Coulter, the conditioned responses he's having, and like him inexplicably knowing stuff that he doesn't know how he knew it. Then again, I don't know how I know most things I know, but what were you guys' impressions?
Oh, that was a brilliant script. I enjoyed it so much. The moment when he discovers the bomb, man, my heart was like, whoa. That excited me. Kind of find it funny how it's slightly related to the script that I'm writing at the moment, and the train. And I was kind of imagining something like that gonna happen. Like, I predicted a train incident, might probably be a train crash rather than a bomb. Also, I've got predictions. So it gave me George, Jason Bourne vibes. Like the amnesia. I mean, I feel like it's I don't know if you watched the TV show Travelers. It reminds me of that, where people from the future go back into the past into bodies of people who have died, and take over their lives to try and save the world in the future. It massively reminds me of that. Yeah, very, very exciting. I thought.
I'm not sure recent development, or maybe it's been going on longer than I realized, but there does seem to be a slew of media that's about people being able to go back in time and then having some profession regarding that, trying to save lives, stuff like that. Taste of Sorrow says, "Is my voice very deep? I sound like a deep, deep baritone in my head." I'd say it's relatively deep. Say it's mid-low register. But yeah, what was the name of that show, Joe?
Travelers.
Travelers.
Yeah, it
I
was
think
on
I might have
Netflix, but I don't know if
Oh,
it still is.
see. Morgana says you can thank H.G. Wells for that trope. I am
Sure.
uncultured Morgana. Care to expand upon that?
Yes, the Time Machine, which is what he wrote. He kind of started this genre.
Got it.
He started a lot of things, to be fair.
Oh yeah, I can tell from his profile on Wikipedia. He's got that face. But a lot of your performances, the main character, Morgana, you really caught the quiet panic. Did you have any strong thoughts on the script?
Oh, I found it funny. He's got that face, that old British man face. You mean that face?
Yeah, you go back and talk to
1800s face.
I'm going to write a lot of revolutionary shit. But yeah, should read this article later. But yeah, did you like the script?
Yeah, it's a cool opening. Again, I always go back to things that it reminds me of. There's this movie, Dark City, I think it's called, where he wakes up in a bathtub. He has no idea what he's doing. It's kind of like a Matrix-esque movie, sci-fi. Um, but yes, that's what it kind of reminded me of. I wonder what year did this movie come out? Because it's definitely got like
2011.
Okay, so I was gonna say like it's definitely got like War on Terror feel era to it.
Yeah, it sold. This was a spec script that sold in 2007. That's when it was on the blacklist.
Yeah, that makes sense. This definitely feels like a Bush era movie to me.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm looking at the IMDb. I've never seen this movie, but I've definitely seen like a parody, or I feel like I've seen the trailer and stuff. Like, but yeah, it read like a pretty good action. I felt like a lot of the beginning did feel like a lot of exposition, where the guy was kind of giving up a lot of information to people who didn't care. Like the conductor's like, "Oh, I don't understand. I'm a pilot. You know, I worked for I worked for this and that. I was on a mission yesterday." You know, it did feel like a lot of exposition, but it played off kind of funny. It played off with I like the Christina character. I like that it gave her a little more personality, and I like the line that was trying to remember it. Well, when she goes to the bathroom, it's like, "This is a violation, sir, of faggots and all that."
She is pretty humorous, yeah. And I assume it is sort of exposition-y just because this, I mean, clearly I don't know where it's going, but from this beginning, it does seem sort of in mindfuck territory. So I feel like you have to lay out a lot of, as much foundation as you can get in the beginning to just give a launching pad. So
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like without the exposition, going into the whole Goodwin sequence, you'll be kind of confused. Like what like even more or less, like this is some random guy woke up in some random guy's body. It's like what's happening? But it makes sense.
yeah. I also really loved how, of course, I have it closed now, but I loved how it delineated very clearly that even this mundane situation where it's just air coming out of a vent or walking through a train car with all the different people in it or just mundane stuff, this is written in such a way, I think at some point it describes some very mundane sound as sinister, I believe. Just little details like that where anybody else on this train is just feeling normal, like clearly not suffering amnesia. And then you have our main character, who of course is terrified, so really like has us seeing through this guy's eyes, just jumpy and on edge and totally disoriented to where very normal stuff is like setting him off. So, but did you say you've read this one before, Nacho?
No, I've never read it, never seen it. Yeah, absolutely riveting. I mean, I think I read I just read like up to page 50, and I think this is like a master class in how to just grab a reader on the first page
Fast. Damn.
and never let him go. Like just keep, it's like absolutely riveting, fantastic pacing, at least through the first 50 pages. Like it just doesn't let up. It's just bam bam. It like keeps you interested in how's just ask like how is the writer accomplishing this? Like what makes you want to turn the page?
I was about to say, because it doesn't seem like it uses, like, clearly there's some very shocking stuff going on, but none of the ways it grabs your attention, like, feels cheap. Like, there's not something over the top happening every single second, but there's always a question. There's always a very
Exactly.
pressing question. So,
Exactly. It's entirely questions. Like questions are how you keep the reader interested. And it's like, and it's also written in a way that's very like nothing is really, even though this is like some strange things are happening, like nothing is described in a way that's confusing, right? Like above there are all kinds of different great writers with voices, and this particular writer, I like his style, but it's not like, um, this is not like reading like a literary novel where the writer's like just breaking out all these, crazy, breaking out the thesaurus with, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
not, it's not that kind of like riveting prose in that sense, that
Yeah.
the
It's not
style,
putting
it doesn't,
itself on a pedestal. It just like
yeah. I
lets
mean,
the premise speak for itself. Like you can very clearly tell, like there's a lot of
yeah.
wonky stuff happening here.
I mean, and it's, it is a little like, okay, this is 2007, and this is like the apex of like 2007 screenwriting, like, Coulter jolts awake, sunlight hits his face, he blinks, stun beat, he's disoriented, slowly turns his head, like it's just, it's not, like the style is not, there are some screenplays that you read and they're just such a pleasure to read like every word because they're so like well written in a way, like just in terms of like the style of the writer, or the writer is like making a lot of jokes every other line, and they're funny to read. In this case, it's kind of a little bit understated, but the writer is a master of like building the story. Like it just, like first questions, he has no idea where he is. What? He doesn't know where he is. I mean, and that's not even, there's no action or dialogue. I mean, it's basically the writer is just kind of coming out and saying this and putting an underline so we don't miss it, right? But I mean, the actor can play it. Obviously, the actor's like, "Whoa, I don't know where I am," right? But this is just great. Like, wow, just hooked us. Doesn't know where he is. Then next page, like he doesn't know the name. He doesn't know what's going on. He's talking to this girl. Like, it's just so interesting. Like one question gets answered. Oh, he's this person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's layering questions like constantly. And it's sort of, yeah, it's really masterfully done. Like is it Taste of Sorrow who suggested it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
idea.
it's very, like great, great, like, I don't know, resource to study, to look at like how to just like the first 10 pages, just like, you know, wow,
Yeah,
like just
you're
it's a
already
gut
in.
punch. Yeah.
You're already in. And Nacho, would you say that because like I think I see what you mean with like the mid 2000 scripts and particularly this one, just a long, long string of declarative sentences that like they make work and it adds to it instead of detracts from it. The stuff where it says he doesn't know where he is, like it's just put in the action lines. Wouldn't that technically be cheating? And if so, like how do you think this script validates it and makes it work?
So it's absolutely okay to put that in your script. He doesn't like the actor can play it, right? And I think you have to kind of cheat. You like first of all think about who's your audience. Your audience isn't like, probably not a famous director who's going to get mad because you're putting this and this in the script or whatever, right? Your audience is some intern who's falling asleep reading a whole bunch of scripts, and you're trying to like keep them awake and like, hey, don't miss the like the main difference between a modern script is you'd see like a hell of a lot more like bold and italics and people like, hey, don't miss this. This is really important. Like I
Yeah.
mean, you just see that a lot more in like recent scripts, right?
Yeah.
But it's uh I guess, just great, very clean style, very like doesn't, I mean, there's some things like you can like sort of a bit like racist, like description of a guy's like his olive skin looks menacing or something, like that to me just sort of like rubbed me the wrong way, or
Yeah, it's pretty.
but
But we
I
can
think
take
there's
example from the other stuff, the stylistic choices.
yeah. I mean,
Not
but it's definitely just in terms of like how to build scenes and how to build a story, like it's just great, resource to review. Yeah, I would encourage everybody to read the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it because, as you said, very attention grabbing and at times very abrasive, and at other times like very sort of ethereal and lets the moment just kind of hang. Like in the moment where there was like a white screen, like when all the noise faded out after the explosion. um, there was like a weird tessellation or shape on screen for exactly a third of a second. That was a weird, like, slow moment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like if you open with a bang, you can't just like keep banging. Like the reader's gonna like die, Like you need like the pacing but keep them, keep them interested with some interesting question that they want to keep reading to find out the answer, right?
Yeah.
Man. Dude, you said bang and you said they're gonna die. I'm like, man.
Please,
Something-
please.
This other script, Ripple, is kind of like that. Like it's the opposite. It sort of opens slow, but it builds. It's also like a time loop thing. It's like a sci-fi romance, and it just builds to this like. Imagine the loops like keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter, right? And it's like that. I felt like I was like having a heart attack reading almost. Like the pacing is so intense as you get to like the third act.
Yeah, pacing, like good pacing in action is always a fascinating thing to appreciate. Because like when I'm reading a script for the first time, oh no, I don't even get to appreciate the pacing as I'm going. Maybe it's like my one-track lizard brain, but like it's only in hindsight that I look back and see, and wow, this sort of dovetailed into that, and this sort of seemed slow at the time, but looking back, it was setting up this other thing. And I guess this in comparison, like I can see how the pacing is paying off already, but
Yeah, I guess I would add like I guess if you're not paying attention, then it's kind of working, right? Like if you're
yeah,
just getting immersed in the story, as opposed to like, okay, how looking at your watch, like how much longer are they going to be in this scene? It's like,
yeah.
right?
I am a hyper excited little kid enraptured in the story, as I always should be. Not having to break out my protractor and be like, okay, this is taking too long. Here's what you need to do. So yeah, I love to be swept away by a good script. But did anyone else have any strong opinions on source code, the first 15 pages? Hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you again, Taste of Sorrow, for bringing it to our attention. But yeah, are you guys good with ending the session here? I think we had a pretty good run.
Yeah, and everybody reads more scripts. There's a link in the chat. Try to read a couple every week if you can.
Always. And
I will have kids to 6 o'clock. I guess I'm gonna get going so I can go into the next class at 5.
okay, great. I unmuted you at the perfect time. But yeah, please enjoy the class of 5.
She said she said it's fine.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. Everyone go to fantasy.
Kind of grow into it.
Also, I'm going to remute you because there's still enough background noise. There we go.
Someone's having a party.
This group after this.
I'm gonna try and get one of these.
Either we keep on undoing each other's mutes, or it's just not.
That
working.
wasn't me. I don't know.
It was me.
I think
Greg, I'm
Sapphire
sorry.
J.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, fantasy workshop in 14 minutes. Be sure to go to that. Tons of fun. Submit your scripts so that I can gobble them up like Cookie Monster. I'm always so excited to read your scripts so we can give hopefully helpful feedback. Why did I type table scripts? That's not a command. There we go.
Table
There's
scraps.
the submission. Table scripts, like table scraps. Feed them to me. But yes, there are the submission forms if you have a 5-pager or full script to submit. But yeah, other events are on the roster. Make sure you check them out. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Bye.